Hi everybody, Teacher Valerie again from the Lebanon Center. And today my helpers are Braylyn, my granddaughter, and this is William, my grandson. And they're going to help us talk about the western long-toed salamander.
Grandma,
yes?
They eat grass and worms.
What do you think they eat?
They eat grass and worms.
You think they eat grass and worms?
Yeah.
What do you think they eat?
Worms. Bugs.
Bugs?
They eat bugs and worms and grass.
Wait, anything that they can fit in their mouth.
Anything that they can fit in their mouth, and they eat worms.
They like to eat one at a time.
You think they eat one at a time?
Yeah.
Well, their mouth is pretty small.
Yeah,
So,
they always eat like.
and it says that they can eat grubs, ants, spiders, anything
spiders.
that's small enough that they can fit in their mouth. They can eat.
Well, they eat their spiders. They eat their heads first, and they eat their legs, and they eat their body.
You think they eat their heads first?
Yeah, they eat their heads first.
So, the salamander is an amphibian, which amphibians also include frogs, toads, and newts. You might be familiar with the newts, the rough-skinned newts that are the brown with the orange belly. Those are very common. And are you telling everybody hello?
Yeah.
So these salamanders, they absorb water and oxygen through their skin.
I thought that was weird.
Don't poke his eye.
Oh, I was just trying to move him so maybe he could walk.
Don't poke his
No,
eye.
I'm just scooting him really closely and very carefully. So they do go dormant in the winter, which means they sleep in the winter time.
Actually, they go in dirt and then go under the rocks sometimes.
That's right,
And
they
they
do.
go under the grass and they turn black and they turn green.
Well, they normally would have more of a yellow stripe down the back.
Well, it's usually like a lizard, but it's not.
You think it looks like a lizard? It
Yeah.
kind of does look like a lizard, huh?
Lizard likes turning the colors blue, pink, red, green, and light yellow.
All right. So they store fat in their tail, and they store protein for the winter time when they're hibernating. So they have enough food and protein to last the winter because they're not eating when they're hibernating. And like Braylyn said, they like to hide and hibernate under rocks, old decaying logs, anything that's wet and moist. Because like the worms, if their skin dries out, they will die. They are most active at night. They do travel sometimes during the day, but most of the things that eat them are also out during the day.
Grandma?
And they lay eggs. So they'll lay eggs in water, and they attach their egg sac to grass that's in the water, reeds, any sticks. And then once the eggs hatch, they call it a larva stage. And it's kind of like what a tadpole would look like until they form into and develop into the salamander.
Hey, Grandma?
Yes.
Sometimes he turns into black right there and he turns to green right here. But he wants to turn into black on his head and he wants to put...
Now let's turn him over and see if he's a different color underneath on his tummy.
Whoa, that's cool. That's cool. Look at him. He's cool.
They're about the same color on their tummy.
Yeah,
Well, there's some. You can see some stripes on its side.
Yeah,
there's the yellow that runs down its tail.
Probably don't.
And they do make little sounds. They make little clicking and squeaking sounds.
Like this, like.
I don't know. I have not heard this one click or squeak.
Well, sometimes I hear the frogs at night.
I do hear the frogs at night.
They do, like.
So if a predator comes to eat it, it has this toxin in its tail that it releases, and so when the predator, like a shrew or a snake, tries to eat it and it's coming from its tail, it has some toxin in its tail that it lets out and it tastes bad, so then the predator will drop it and not want to eat it anymore.
That's gross.
So that's how it protects itself.
Some snakes eat some of them.
Snakes like to eat the salamanders.
Yeah, some snakes eat heads and eyeballs.
Probably because they eat the whole thing.
Remember you hold the snake in the pizza?
Yes, I did. All right, well, I am glad you watched us and learned a little bit about the western long-toed salamander. Oh, and I was going to tell you about these gloves. So I have these gloves on today because if I had any kind of chemicals on my hand, it would have hurt the salamander. So that's why I'm wearing gloves, to protect the salamander. And also, it's called the long-toed salamander because they're of the long toes on its back legs.
Hey, Grandma.
And I'm not really for sure if this is a boy or a girl. I didn't really find any information about how you tell the difference.
Hey, Grandma.
All right.
Grandma.
We're going to say bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.